First, we'll be discussing LED, that is, it stands for light emitting diode. We'll see what actually LED is and how actually we can interface LED to a microcontroller or a microprocessor. And after that, we'll be discussing rest two interfacing components, that is push button switch and keyboard. Okay. So coming to LED, so LED is actually an output device. Okay, it is an output device for visual indication in any embedded system. So what for you are using LED? This is the application what you are finding for LED. Okay, so for indicating the status you'll be using LED. So for example, in your system in the say to indicate that the system is turned on, or some to in case of battery powered devices to indicate that battery is low, you are going to you make use of LED. Okay, so LED can be used as an indicator for the status of various signals or situations. So typical examples are indicating the presence of power conditions like device on, battery low, or charging of battery for a battery operated handheld embedded devices. Okay, these are the applications of LED. So what LED stands for? It is light emitting diode. It is an output device. It is mainly used. It's an important device which is used for visual indication in any embedded system. Okay. And what is LED? It is actually a PN junction diode, and what it contains is anode and cathode. So we'll see the simple circuitry here. Okay. So this is the LED. So for proper functioning of this LED, so anode of this LED, it must be connected to the positive supply, okay, to the VCC, and the cathode, it is connected to the negative terminal of the supply voltage. So this is how we can make the LED function. Okay, we are connecting the anode. This lengthy line what you are seeing, it is anode. Okay, that is a positive terminal. It is connected to the positive terminal, and cathode is connected to the ground. Okay, then you can see here a resistor is being used in between the power supply and the LED for limiting the current through the LED. Okay, so now coming to the interfacing of LED to the microcontroller. So in two ways we can interface LED to the microcontroller. Okay, so what are those two ways? We'll see here with these 2 points. So in the first method, so one way of interfacing is we can connect the anode directly to the port pin. Okay, anode is connected directly to the port pin, where the port pin drives the LED, meaning the port pin sources the current to the LED. When this happens, when the port pin is at logic 1. So what is the one way of configuring or one way of interfacing LED to the microcontroller? So one method is connecting the anode of the LED to the port pin. Okay, so this is one method of interfacing LED to the microcontroller. So when actually the LED will be turned on, so here once through the port pin, you are sending a logic 1. Okay, through port pin, if a logic 1 is sent, then we say that the port pin sources the current to the LED, where the LED will be turned on. Okay, you know, other end is connected to ground. So once port pin value is 1, if you are sending out a 1 through the microcontroller to the LED, okay, so in that case, the LED will be turned on. So this is one method where anode is directly connected to the port pin. So what is the second method? Here we are connecting the cathode of the LED, that is to the port pin. Okay, and anode will be connected to the supply voltage through the resistor. So as you are seeing in this diagram, it is just the LED shown for proper functioning. You know, one end that is the anode is connected to the VCC and cathode is connected to the ground. And we are trying to explain the interfacing of LED to the microcontroller. So one method what we discussed was connecting the anode to the port pin of the microcontroller, so that once the port pin status is 1, in that case it is going to source the current to the LED, which makes the LED turn on. Okay, in the second method, the cathode of the LED is connected to the port pin. So this is connected to the port pin, and anode is connected to the supply voltage through this resistor. So when actually the LED will be turned on, so when the port pin So you know cathode is connected to the port pin. When port pin is at logic 0, then your LED will be turned on. Okay. So here we say that the port pin sinks the current. Okay. So this is another way of interfacing LED to the microcontroller. So these are the two ways in which we can interface LED. One connecting anode directly to the port pin, another connecting cathode directly to the port pin. So if you are connecting anode to the port pin, when port pin is at logic 1, we say that the port pin sources the current where LED will be turned on. If you are connecting cathode to the that is port pin, so when through port pin you are sending a 0, in that case the LED will be turned on, and we say that port pin sinks the current. Okay. So this is about LED. So what we discussed, what an LED is, it's an output device. What are the applications of LED in embedded systems? To indicate the visual status, the visual indication, what we say, of some status, we are going to make use of LED. Okay. And we saw how to interface LED to the microcontroller. Okay. So this completes LED. Coming to the next interfacing component, that is push button switch. So what is this push button switch, and what are the applications of it, and what are the two configurations in which push button switch comes in, and how to interface push button switch for one of the application we are going to discuss. Okay. See here, push button switch, it is actually an input device, and it comes in two configurations. So what are those two configurations? It is push to make and push to break. So push button switch you'll use maybe to indicate or to reset the system, or to start the system, to supply the power to the system. Maybe it may be the power button you are having, okay, which is a push button, or it may be to reset the entire system. Okay. Or as a pulse generator, we can make use of push button switch. How actually we can use push button switch for pulse generation, that we'll discuss in the later slide. Okay. So for the time being, just know push button switch is an input device. It comes in two configurations, push to make and push to break. Okay. In push to make configuration, the switch is normally in the open state, and it makes a circuit contact when it is pushed or when it is pressed. Okay. This is push to make configuration of the push button switch. So in case of push to break configuration, the switch is normally in the closed state, and it breaks the circuit contact when it is pushed or pressed. So opposite of push to make is actually push to break. So that you are seeing in this simple representation here. So push button switch, so push to make. So normally the switch will be in the open state in case of push to make. So once we press the button, in that case it will be a closed circuit. So in case of push to break, so normally it is closed state, in the closed state, and once we press the button, in that case the circuit contact will be broken. Okay. So these are the two configurations in which push button switch comes, push to make and push to break. So this is just a circuit symbol you are seeing for the switch, right? Coming to the applications of push button switch, as I just mentioned, in embedded applications, this push button switch is used as a reset, start switch, and pulse generator. Okay. Coming to the next point, that is how actually we can make use of push button switch for generating a high pulse or a low pulse. So this push button switch, it is normally connected to the port pin of the processor or the microcontroller, and depending on in which the push button is interfaced to the microcontroller, it can generate either a high pulse or a low pulse. So what we are discussing now is, we have seen what a push button is. Okay, it's an input device. Okay, and we have also seen the configurations in which push button switch comes in, and we saw the applications of push button switch. Here we are trying to discuss how to generate a high pulse or a low pulse using push button switch. Okay, so that's what we are discussing with this diagram. Just see here. So this figure illustrates how the push button can be used for generating low and high pulses. Okay. So first diagram what you are seeing, this is generating a low pulse. So this is a low pulse generator diagram. And second what you are seeing, it is high pulse generator. Okay. So here when the switch is open, coming to the low pulse generator, the low pulse means we need to generate this pulse. This is low pulse generator. Okay. High pulse means you need to generate this pulse, high pulse. So how actually we are using push button switch for generating either a low pulse or a high pulse. So that depends on how, where the switch is appearing. Okay. So that with this diagram we shall try to understand. So here, coming to the first diagram here, when the switch is open, so here you can see it is in the open state, the switch is. So when a logic, if you can just observe here, a logic 1 is given as output signal here, since it is connected to the VCC and this is the my microcontroller port pin. So here, if the switch is in the open state, then in that case, it is actually logic 1 given to the microcontroller. Okay, so that means it is in the high state. So once the switch is closed, in that case, the output is grounded here and logic 0 is given as output to the port pin. So if switch is open, in that case, logic 1 is given as output signal. If switch is closed, in that case, the output is grounded. So logic 0 will be given to the microcontroller. So that is given as input to the microcontroller. So that means you are going to generate a low pulse. So it will be in the high state when we press the switch, okay, or when we push this button. In that case, it is going to be grounded. Okay, the switch is closed and the output is grounded, and logic 0 is given to the microcontroller as the value. Okay, so this is how we are generating the low pulse. And you can see here a pull-up resistor is required. So that it can hold the output voltage at the required value whenever the switch is open. Okay, since logic 1 is given to the microcontroller when switch is in the open state, so a pull-up resistor is actually required so that it can hold the output voltage level, okay, whenever the switch is in the open state. So this is how we are generating the low pulse. So coming to the high pulse generator, so here you can see the position where the resistor and switch is placed. So that is reversed here in the second configuration. So first configuration we have seen where resistor is in between the output, that is the microcontroller, and the that is the VCC power supply, and the push button switch is here. And it is this position is reversed in the second configuration. We are seeing resistor appearing here, and the switch, it is connected between the plus 5 volt power supply and the output of the microcontroller. Okay, so in between these two, we are seeing the switch. And in this case, the resistor, we call it as a pull down resistor, which is connected between the output, that is the microcontroller pin, and the ground. So in this configuration, so what happens when switch is in the open state? Okay, so when the switch is in the open state, okay, here the output signal will be at 0 or logic 0. So when the switch is closed, so when this button is pressed or when this button is pushed, in that case, the output goes high to plus 5 volt. So that means logic 1 is sent to the microcontroller port pin. So this is how we are generating a high pulse. When switch is open, in that case, 0 will be sent out. When the switch is closed, when the button is pressed, in that case, we are sending out a logic 1 to the microcontroller. So this is how we are generating a high pulse. Okay, so this is one of the application of push button switch. We can make use of this as a pulse generator. So if you want to generate a high pulse, you can make use of this configuration. If you want to generate a low pulse, then you can make use of this configuration. Okay, so these are the two configurations which you can use, or this is how we can interface the microcontroller to the push button switch so that we can generate a high pulse or a low pulse. So this is about push button switch. So what and all we discussed with respect to push button switch? It is an input device, and we saw the two configurations in which push button switch comes. It is push to make and push to break. And the applications of push button switch we discussed, that as it can be used as a reset switch or start switch or a pulse generator. Okay, and how actually we can interface the microcontroller for generating the pulse, that is the high pulse and the low pulse, with this diagram we have seen. So this completes push button switch. So coming to the last interface component, that is keyboard. So let us just discuss the keyboard. Keyboard interfacing, and you know what keyboard is? It's an input device, okay, for user interfacing, right? So let me just remove this. Okay, just a minute. Okay, you know what a keyboard is? It's an input device for user interfacing, and how actually you can interface the keyboard to the microcontroller. That's what we are going to discuss now. So if we are taking for individual key a separate port pin, that is direct interfacing what I'm talking about. So there may be a situations demanding large number of keys for the user inputs. So it depends on the applications. If it is possible with only 2 keys, you can implement, or in some applications more number of keys may be required, okay, that need to be interfaced to the microcontroller. In that case, to handle each of the keys, so there should be a separate port pin. So for each key we need to have a separate port pin in case of direct interfacing. So what is the problem with this is, so since the microcontroller comes with less number of ports, so if too large number of keys are to be interfaced, in that case it is actually wastage of port pins, and the number of port pins available in the microcontroller will also be less. So this is a problem. So in that case, it is better not to have direct interfacing. We can just go for matrix keyboard. So what is the solution we are having for handling large key requirement? That is, we can go for matrix keyboard. So that actually reduces the interface connections. We need not have individual port pins for each of the keys. So if the keyboard is in matrix form, in that case with less number of port pins, we can interface the microcontroller to the keyboard. So how actually we are interfacing a 4x4 keyboard, that we are going to see in the coming slide. So what we are discussing now is what a keyboard is. It's an input device, and how actually we can interface the keyboard directly. So that is called as direct interfacing, where for each of the key you are having a separate port pins. But what is the problem with this is, there is limited number of general purpose port pins in a microcontroller or a microprocessor, and it is just a wastage of port pin by using this direct interfacing. So the solution for this problem is matrix keyboard, okay, for handling large key requirements. And this actually reduces the number of interface connections. Say for example, so if you want to interface 16 keys, okay, assume for your application you require 16 keys in the keyboard. So in that case, if you are going for direct interfacing, then 16 port pins are required. Okay, for interfacing 16 keys to the microcontroller, 16 port pins are required. But this is not feasible. So that's why we can go for matrix keyboard, where only 8 lines are sufficient. So 16 keys can be configured as 4x4. Okay, it can be in the matrix form of 4x4 format, wherein we can make use of only 8 port pins. Using only 8 port pins, we can just interface a 16 key keyboard to the microcontroller. So this is the advantage of going for matrix keyboard. So just observe here, earlier for interfacing 16 keys, if you are using direct interface, 16 port pins were required. Whereas so if it were to be the matrix keyboard you are using, say 4x4 matrix keyboard, in that case only 8 port pins are sufficient for interfacing with this 4x4 or 16 key keyboard. Okay. So this is the advantage of using matrix keyboard. The number of port pins required will be less, and it reduces the number of interface connections. Now we shall discuss this 4x4 keyboard that is interfaced to the microcontroller. So this diagram, what you are seeing, it is actually in the interfacing of 4x4 keyboard to the microcontroller. And you can see here the column lines. So in the keyboard, as I told, it is a 4x4 matrix. So rows are connected to the port pin of the microcontroller and columns are connected to the port pin of the microcontroller. And you can see column lines, these are connected to that is the microcontroller, which is an input port. So the column lines are connected to the one of the port, that is one port will be used for connecting to the column lines, and other port pins will be used for connecting to the row lines. Okay, and the port pin which is connected to the column, that should be configured as input port, and the port pin which is connected to the rows, that should be configured as output port pin. Okay, this is how we are interfacing keyboard to the microcontroller. So how we are interfacing a keyboard? It may be any matrix keyboard. Okay, in our example, we have taken a 4x4 matrix keyboard with total of 16 keys. Okay, user can define whatever the key value you want to assign, that can be controlled through your code. Okay, so what you have to remember is it is a matrix keyboard. So if it were to be 16 keys you are dealing with, it is a 4x4 matrix, one of the configuration for the keyboard you can use, where column lines are connected to the input port pins of the controller and row lines are connected to the output port pins of the microcontroller. Okay, so in the matrix form the keys are arranged, and you can see the pull-up resistors are connected to the column lines, so which limits the current that flows to the row line. So once the key is pressed, okay, the current flows to the row line. So to just to limit that current that flows to the row line, once key is pressed, the pull-up resistors are used here. Okay, so coming to the detection, how actually we can detect whether the key is pressed or not. So we need to scan the keyboard to check the key press. So what is the scanning technique we are using in the keyboard for detecting which key is being pressed? So that we'll discuss now. Okay, so if none of the key is pressed in the keyboard, so in that case, what bit status will be having? Okay, in the input port pins. So these are the four column lines. As I told, they are connected to the input port pins. So column 0 to column 3. Okay, and since all these inputs are pulled up by this pull up resistor, so what will be the bit status if none of the key is pressed? So the bit status will be all ones. So since the column lines are held high using the pull-up resistor, okay, the column values, once you read through the microcontroller port pins, this column values, since this is the input port to which the column lines are connected, okay, what will be the bit status? It will be all ones. 1111 will be the bit status if no key is pressed. So only 4 port pins are used here. Okay, so since it is a 4x4 matrix, 4 port pins are connected to the column lines, 4 port pins are connected to the row lines. So in total, only 8 port pins are sufficient for interfacing a 16 key keyboard. Okay, for this interfacing, how many port pins are required? If you are using a matrix keyboard, it is 8 port pins. So for each column, a port pin is required. Okay, so input port pin. So here for connecting column 0, one port pin is required, and again for column 1, column 2 and column 3. Similarly, for connection to the rows, each of the port pin is required. Okay, the totally 4 port pins for 4 rows and 4 port pins for column lines. So here we need this, since I told it is an input port pin, okay, for to which the column lines are connected. First we need to read the input using the input port. Once you read the input, if you see the status in these column lines as 1, okay, if it were to be 1111, so if these 4 port pin status is 1111, what you can infer is, you can easily tell that none of the key is pressed in the keyboard. Okay, if no key is pressed, what will be the bit status will be having at the input port pins, and that is in column 0 to column 3, it is 1111. So since the column lines are held or pulled up using the pull up resistor, so this will be the status if none of the key is pressed. But if any key is pressed, okay, if you are going to press a key, so assume this key is pressed. So in the row 0, column 0, so in this a particular key 0 is pressed. In that case, what happens is it will short row 0 and column 0. So column line and row line will be shorted. So that means whatever you are sending through row 0, okay, that will be available at the column 0 line. So if you are sending a 0 through row 0, then you are going to get 0 in this column 0 line. If you are sending 1, then you are going to get 1 at the column 0 line. Then how to identify whether key is pressed in row 0, column 0? So for that, you should not send 1 on this row 0 line. If you send 1, even though the key is not pressed, what is the column line status? It is all ones. If you send 1 on the row line and if key is pressed here, so the output status on this column 0, that is, if you just read this column 0 value, it will be 1. You will not see any difference before the key press and after the key press if you are sending 0 on this row 0 line. So what you have to send to see the difference if key is pressed? So what you have to do is you need to send out a 0. So just send 0 on this row 0 line and you can read the status. If column 0 status is 0, then that means we can infer that the key is pressed here. Okay, so how actually we are going to detect whether the key is pressed in the matrix keyboard? So we are going to send out a 0. So I want to check whether key is pressed in row 0 line. So how to do it? I need to send out a 0 here. If the key is pressed, say in row 0, column 0, let us say key 0 is pressed. In that case, here you can see this row 0 and column 0 lines will get shorted, where the data 0 what you are sending through row 0, that will appear in column 0 line. Once you read the status, what will be the status? It will be 0, 1, 1, 1. Okay, you are sending 0 in this line and you are reading the status through the port pin. So what will be the status? It will be 0, 111. Where if it is 0, we can infer that the key is pressed in row 0. Okay, so this is how we are going to check whether the key is pressed in any of the row or column in a matrix keyboard. So that's what I've explained here. In the next slide, we shall see. Let me just read it out. See, in the matrix keyboard, how actually the keys are arranged in the matrix fashion. So that is, they are connected in the form of rows and columns. And pull-up resistors are connected to the column lines so that it can limit the current that flows to the row line once key is pressed. Okay. Coming to the detection of key press, it makes use of scanning technique. So if no key is pressed, what will be the bit status? It is all ones on the input port pins, that is column 0 to column 3, as all the inputs are pulled up by the pull-up resistor. If any key is pressed, okay, so as an example here, we have considered a key pressed at row 0, column 0, that is the first key in the keyboard. It is going to short row 0 and column 0 line, so that whatever the data available at row 0, it will appear at column 0. But already the columns are pulled high. You need to apply the logic 0 at row 0 so that you can see the change in column 0 when key is pressed. Okay. If you want to detect key is pressed, don't send 1 at row 0. Okay. You need to send a logic 0 so that status you can see at column 0. So here each row of the matrix is pulled low and the columns are red. And after reading the status of each column corresponding to the row is pulled high and the next row is pulled low and the status of the columns are red. So we are repeating this process. So if you want to check whether key is pressed in first row, we'll just send 0 on row 0 and we'll read the column line values and then we'll check whether key is pressed in first row. If it is not in the first row, then what we'll do? We'll make the row 0 value as 1 and we'll send 0 at row 1 and then we'll read the value from the column lines. So the process is repeated until we find any key is pressed on the keyboard. So this is what the logic we are using or the scanning technique we are using for detecting the key press. Okay. So this process is repeated until the scanning for all the rows are completed. So this is about the keyboard interface. So just see this diagram. It is an example where 4x4 keyboard is used. How actually the scanning technique is used for detecting the key press here. Column lines are connected to the input port of the microcontroller. Row lines are connected to the output port of the microcontroller. And columns are pulled up through the pull-up resistor. So if no key is pressed, it will be all ones in this column lines. If a key is pressed in any row, in that case, that particular row and column line gets shorted. So whatever the value you are sending through that row, so that status you will see on the corresponding column line. But so since already the columns are held I using the pull-up resistor, if you send one using through this row 0, then you'll not see any difference. It will be one only. So before key press and after key press, you will see one only. That doesn't give any difference whether key is pressed or not. So to see the difference, what value we are sending is row wise we are scanning the keyboard. So first what we'll do is we'll send 0 on row 0. Okay. And then rest of the row values will be 1. Only row 0 value will be 0 and we'll read the column status through the input port pin. Okay, if that particular column value is 0, we can infer that row is the key is pressed in that particular row. If you find that all the column line values are ones after row 0 value is 0 you have sent. So what is the next step? We'll just send 1 on row 0 and we'll make 0 on row 1 and again 1 on row 2. So this is the pattern. Let me just write the pattern in which we are scanning the keyboard. So first we'll send this value. At row 0, we'll send 0 and here the rest of the row values will be 1. So if a key is pressed, in that case, in a particular row, that corresponding column line value will be 0. So that indicates the key is pressed in row 0. If you find that all column values will be 1, that means key is not pressed in row 0. So we need to send the next status. So what is the next pattern we are sending on the row lines? It is 1 for row 0, again 0 for row 1, and for row 2 and row 3 we'll send 1. 1011 will send. So that after sending this value, we'll read the column status through the input port pin and we'll check whether any key is pressed in row 1. Okay, if any key is pressed, say for example, if I press 6, in that case, or we are sending 0 in row 1 line. So corresponding column value. So this row and this column, row 1 and column 2 will be shorted. So since I'm sending 0 here, 0 appears in this line. So then once you read the port value, what will be the status is 1101. Okay, this indicates the key is pressed in row 1. So this process will repeat. First we'll make row 1, row 0, 0. We'll read the column lines. Next what we'll make, we'll just send 0 through row 1 and we'll read the input port status. If no key is pressed, we'll go for sending 0 in row 2. Rest of the row values will be 1. Then we'll read the port status. So the process is repeated until we find the key that is pressed. Okay, infinitely we'll be repeating it. Once key is pressed, the key pressed is detected, and if you are connecting it to the LCD, you can just display which key is being pressed, or else you can just indicate through logic controller which key is pressed. The key status you can display through LED on the logic controller. It depends on your requirement, how actually you want to check the output. But what you are seeing here is the working of matrix keyboard. Okay, how we can interface matrix keyboard to the microcontroller. So as an example here, 4x4 keyboard with 16 keys we have discussed how actually the scanning technique is used in the keyboard to detect the keys. Okay, so this completes your unit 5. Okay, so what are the interfacing components we have discussed in unit 5? So we have discussed first we started with 7-segment display interface. Then we discussed stepper motor interface. After that we discussed logic controller interface. Then LCD interface we have discussed, DAC interface, and these are the other 3 interfacing components in unit 5, that is LED, push button switch, and keyboard interface. So in addition to these interfacing components, we started with LPC2148 microcontroller registers that are used for GPIO functionality. The important registers we have discussed and how actually we can configure those registers for functioning, the port functioning as GPIO ports that we have discussed. Okay, so these are the topics we are having in Unit 5, and this completes Unit 5. Hope all of you have followed. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.